What's up everyone, welcome to Sirhan's Reviews. My name's Mark, and in this video, I know this format is a little bit different, but I wanted to try something new for this Q&A. I'm going to be answering your questions and your comments based on the Game of Thrones Season 7 Episode 1 live stream that I did, and the Episode 2 predictions. Alright, now this first question is from user the AXB2010, and he or she says, Littlefinger doesn't know Jon's lineage. To Littlefinger, Jon Snow is a motherless bastard born in the South. Now this is highly debatable. I definitely think that Littlefinger knows more than what he's given off. Now, this is what he told Sansa. I don't think that that's necessarily the case. I think that he will definitely try to tell Jon Snow, whether it's down in the crypts or at some point he will, if Bran doesn't get there next episode and tell Jon Snow first. Littlefinger can benefit from this because in his dumbass mind, he thinks that this will make Jon Snow act better than Sansa. You know, you can't really reason with a madman. Now, this next question comes from None Ya Business, and they said, why are people calling the episode slow? An entire house was wiped out in the opening scene. We saw the North unified, Sansa setting up a potential betrayal, and Cersei meeting with Euron. Alright, now, I don't necessarily think the episode was slow. Now, like I had mentioned in my live stream and in my preview breakdown, anything Game of Thrones gives us, anything HBO puts up on their network and allows basically any kind of Game of Thrones content for me to consume, I'm gonna think it's fucking amazing. That's just me. I'm a super fan. I also criticized the show. You know, there were a few moments in episode 1 where I was like, okay, that's not really a necessary scene. Like, they might have been playing on the jokes maybe a little bit too much, but I think that's because they're trying to appeal to a wider audience. You know, going into season 7, the show was supposed to end at season 7. They stretched it out and gave us an additional 3 episodes. Now, that might not seem like much, but that was 3 extra episodes of plot, so that means they have to delay everything. Every single actor who's been interviewed, breakneck speed. It's going to be amazing. I believe them. You know what I mean? We did, like None Ya Business said, we got a lot of, like, setup, and we need that. You have to understand, this show was supposed to end this season. So all of these, like, this episode probably wouldn't have even existed. You know what I mean? Like, if this was going to be a full-out season, we wouldn't have nothing to look forward to next year. Alright, this next question is from the user K Jackson, and she says, one other question, please. I thought I spotted the Queen of Thorns sitting at Dany's map table in this preview. She is one of my favorites. I love her with the best. Yes, that is her. She's sitting at the very end. I like how, you know, she doesn't let her age. She's not ashamed to show it. Everyone else is standing up. Everyone else has been traveling across the narrow sea. They know that they're about to go to war. They're excited. They probably can't sit. The Queen of Thorns probably says something sassy like, I'm about to sit my old ass down. Alright, so this next comment comes from Antonis Papadopoulos, interesting name. I believe that Yara and Ilario will go solo without Dany, and they will be taken hostage by Cersei. Now, I agree with this, except for the last part. Cersei will not take hostages. I think if both of them are in fact captured, which I mentioned that the gift that Euron was referring to in that episode is most likely Ilaria Sand and the other Sand Snakes, because they killed her daughter. You know, she may have mentioned that her children are dead. There's no point in, like, basically dwelling on dead people, but I don't think that's the case. I think, you know, she still will want revenge. So I think that's what Euron meant when he told her that she was going to get the gift, and I don't think that she's going to leave them alive. They won't be, like, as used as bargaining chips. She might keep them a while, but keep them alive, but that's only going to be to torture them. Cersei will take no prisoners. Alright, now this next comment isn't really a question, it's a comment, and it's from the user Templars Were Born, and they said, I'm not a Dany fan at all. Now, I'm just going to give you a heads up, I'm a huge House Targaryen fan here on this channel, so anytime they do something awesome and epic, I will be blowing it out of proportion and be bragging and boasting about it. I will marry Emilia Clarke one day. Alright, now this next question comes from Giant Finger Chemo, and he says, Mark, do you think Mir will present Dark Sister to Arya, as they both would be considered Dark Sisters? Now, this actually comes from a video where I did a prediction on the blade that Mir is carrying. The handle of it looks similar to Dark Sister. Now, we have more shots from that episode where we kind of see it from a little bit of a further back distance, as you can see right here, and it does look like it could be considered a longsword. Now, it was a female version of a longsword, so the hilt is like smaller and slender, more capable of fitting a female's wrist. I definitely agree with the point that you made, Giant Finger, about both of them being Dark Sisters. I do think if it was a battle for who's the darkest of the sisters, would be Arya. She just killed about a room full of some 30-odd dudes. This question comes from Kirk Solo, and he says, how does Benjen not know about the mark? He is sending Bran to the wall. They will be able to bring it down. Benjen is in league with the White Walkers. Now, I don't know about the last part. I don't think he's in league with the White Walkers, but I think what it may be is that was he ever told that? You know, did Bran say the reason why we had to leave Bloodraven's cave was because Bloodraven told me that we needed to get the fuck out of there because the Night King left his mark on me? I don't know that Benjen knows that. And I think, if anything, maybe that mark will actually have no effect on the wall. We know that the magic of the wall is basically comes from the old gods, and there are, in the framework of the wall, I believe there are weirwood tree trunks that are carved with runes from the First Men. And that, along with the Children of the Forest magic, is what keeps the Night King and all of the army of the dead, the undead, out. I don't know if it's gonna be, you know, it's almost like it was a cave entrance to a giant 700-foot high wall. The magic is obviously gonna be stronger at the wall, so I think that that could have been the reason why, you know, he was able to go to where Bran was. And you can also link it to that it only works to ward off the magic of wherever that person was when the mark happened. So maybe that was only to ward off the magic to Bloodraven's cave. So now that that has already happened, Bran escaped that. Once he crosses through the wall, he may be in the clear. Alright, now this next question comes from Doc Robinson, and this user says, do you think the giant White Walkers at the beginning of the episode can be killed with a single blow from a dragonglass weapon or Valyrian steel or fire? Alright, now I don't think it's going to be that easy to bring them down. I think they will be slower and maybe not as quick as someone like One. You know, he was pretty much undefeated. It was until like 2.5 hours of crazy intense battling. I'm sure he had multiple wounds all over him, and then another 6 arrows, and then 2 in the face before he actually dropped. So these are whites. Obviously, it's going to be a lot harder to kill them. You can probably load them up with everything, and they'll still keep going. I think the main advantage that Jon Snow will have is the dragons. The dragons are likely going to take them out. And the same can be said for the giants being able to take out the dragons, because maybe they can withstand more dragon flame than the average white. I do think that there will be some sort of, you know, battle between Bran and the Night King, and I think that when something like maybe Bran is able to harm, or maybe the Night King is vulnerable in this like warg state, let's say they're both battling like in the Weirwood net itself, you know what I mean? I think that Bran will be able to manifest himself in some sort of way, and he'll be able to harm the Night King. If that happens, then maybe he will lose control over certain ones, like the bigger ones, and then they'll just die. But I do think that we will see a dragon taking out one of those white giants, and then one of those white giants gravely injuring one of Daenerys' dragons. Now this last question comes from Nikki Jones, and she says, we don't know if it was the Lord of Light who reanimated Jon. Could have just as easily have been the Night King. Now I don't think that's the case. The Night King is a necromancer. When he brings someone back from the dead, they're under his control. Period. They also tend to have glowing blue eyes. Jon Snow is neither of which. Jon Snow was reanimated by the Lord of Light. There's no question about that. I think there is a little bit of question on who preempted the Lord of Light to do it. You know, like some people think that it was Davos, because Davos was his true friend that had lost all faith, and then he put faith in R'hllor at the last moment. I personally think it was Melisandre and Jon Snow's king's blood. You know, a lot of people say that there has to be a sacrifice to use like blood magic and fire magic and stuff like that. I basically think it was a combination of Melisandre, the Night's Watchmen breaking their vow and killing their Lord Commander, and also the fact that Jon Snow is fire and ice. Alright, I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you could please slap a like on this video, and then make sure that you're subscribed. Go ahead and turn your notifications on as well, so that way you get notified every time I drop Game of Thrones content. The like goal for this video will be 150. If you would like to enter my contest for this lovely Daenerys Dark Horse figurine once I reach 10,000 subscribers here on YouTube, all you have to do to enter that contest is like this video, comment down below, and then make sure you're subscribed. My name's Mark, and this has been Sir Hunt's Reviews.
You cannot take the precious from me. The precious is all I have. If you take the precious from Smeagol, call him.